Welcome to another episode of the Wandering Watercolor. Let's paint. So this is the 10th and final page of the forest scenery watercolor coloring book that I make. As always, I'll leave everything in the description. So whenever I was getting some polling done for my customers for this book and what I should include in it, everybody wanted a fox in there. So I thought that was, I had to make sure that there's a fox. And as always, you have the brush, somewhere to mix your colors, 2 jars on the side, and a paper towel. The paint that I'm using is the Prang Mini 15 watercolors set. I actually really like it. I've painted most of the images in this book, in this tutorial series, with this palette. I'm so pleasantly surprised by how good the results come out. Okay, now foxes are nocturnal creatures, and so I do have this one out in the middle of the night. And to do the same thing that we did previously, to block out the background, I'm going to start off by mixing up some blue. Now, the dark blue in this set is very strong. So if that's what you're using, be mindful of the fact that you'll need a lot more water to dilute it. And the way that I'm going to block in the background is I'm going to start down here. The little circles that I put in that are kind of floating around, I kind of wanted them to be fireflies, but I put in too many, so I'm just gonna block out a bunch of them, and then slowly just kind of working my way up. Now right around here, I'm just gonna rinse my brush. There's still a little bit of blue on it, but I'm gonna pull out the blue upwards, like that. Okay. And then I'm gonna grab the same blue and then just start working back here. And this tree, I'm not going to block, but then the one right after it, I am going to block off. So I'm just kind of putting it all like that, slowly. And then up here, like that. Okay. And next I'm just gonna rinse my brush and same thing, just kind of pull out those lighter shades of blue towards the moon. The moon itself, you have the option of either painting it, like either just a very light blue or adding some yellow. It really just depends how you want it to look. I'm still kind of trying to decide that, really, as I'm painting this. I'm just adding some more in the background here, like that. Okay, I'm gonna rinse my brush. I'm gonna fade in this little edge, like that. And next I'm just gonna get some brown, add some water to it, and basically just start filling in wherever I see bark. And I'm not being too picky right now. And I'll show you in the moment, I want really the emphasis to be right here. So everything that's kind of surrounding it, it doesn't have to be rendered perfectly. I'm just kind of blocking colors in. As I said previously, add some more brown to my mixture. And go around here. Okay. I'm gonna grab some of the darker green, just because it's a little more toward. It leans more towards the blue, and so in the middle of the night, it would just work better with color-wise with this mixture. Like that. You know, I think I will use yellow for the moon. I think it'll make it look better than if I was to just use like a light blue. Just kind of adding all that in. Some here. On this side. And then back here. Rinse my brush. I'm actually going to add the layer first. So the yellow layer, that's going to basically the highlight of everything. So I'm going to start in the middle here, and I'm going to fade it outwards. And it's okay if I go outside of the lines a little bit. Like that. Definitely getting the fox like that. Over here, I want those trees kind of blocked in like that. The top of the bridge that the fox is using to cross, for sure. These trees over here, like that. Okay, and also the grass on this side of the ravine, this bark. There we go. I rinse my brush. And then I'm gonna grab that same green again and then keep going down here, for example. Mixing it in. And down here. And here I'm gonna add a little bit of the yellow also. Grabbing some of that yellow. Like that. So you can really kind of get the idea of how much the moon is illuminating. And then over here. Actually, a little bit more blue over here where it's peeking through. Like that. And so now that I have the highlights, I can easily paint the darker side of things. Like, for example, down here with the log bridge. So I'm going to paint it like that. And then some of it is going to be moss that's just kind of hanging, as you can tell. Just going to add all of that in here. I'm going to rinse my brush and just kind of blend it in at the halfway point. There we go. Actually, I'm going to put a little more down here for the roots that are coming out. Dry off my brush. For the fox, I am going to grab just the orange, and I want to make sure it's not too much, because orange can be kind of a strong color. But I'm gonna basically, the fox is kind of far away, and you can't do too much detail. But I'm gonna try to do like kind of like half of the fox, you know, and the fox has white going on the muzzle and then down its chest, but I'm gonna blend in that edge a little bit like that. And coming up here into the face, just kind of, I am going to add another layer of orange. For now, just kind of, there we go. Okay, and then the white tip tail, I'm gonna leave it as is. So far so good. I will get back to that. Grab some more of the brown, adding kind of like a shade back here, kind of blocking in this way. Trying to show which way the light is coming from. Block that in, like that. Definitely over here. Okay. Grab more. And you can tell, whenever we first laid in the color, it looked very dark, but now I can go in for a second layer to really bump up the contrast. And you can see it, how different it looks. It looks so much more three-dimensional. Whenever you add the shading, it always helps make an object look more three-dimensional. And as I'm laying down these marks, the entire time I'm thinking about the light source being the moon. So the lighter part of anything that I'm painting is obviously going to be facing that direction. Rinse my brush. And I do want to grab some of the yellow green. And I'm going to mix it in with the darker green. And that's going to be the color that I use for the moss. So a little bit of moss here. Definitely the moss that's kind of hanging down over here. Here on the top of the tree, but you can tell that it's picking up some of the background color of the moonlight, which is exactly what we wanted. That. Some of that. Okay. Looks good so far. Now rinse my brush. I'm going to add a little bit of brown to this blue over here, so we can get the brown gray color that we want for the dirt that's in the background here. Just gonna block that in. Like that. Gonna rinse my brush. Dry it off a little bit and then use that edge to blend it into the yellow highlight. So it looks good. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab that original green again. And use not a lot of water, just mostly of the emerald darker green to create some textures. Use the tip of the brush to create a little bit of dots here and there, like that. There we go. And definitely up here. Create those darker areas to show the texture of the leaves. And down here a little bit here and there. Not too much. Enough to convey different layers of information. It doesn't have to be perfect. As I said before, the focal point is where the fox is. So that's where I'm spending the most amount of time being careful and laying in the details. Everything that's to the periphery is less important. But I am going to use this exact same color to add some shading to the moss and give it some form. A little bit on the edge to make it look more three-dimensional. Like that. Over here, a little bit of texture. A little bit of this in the background. Or not the background, but behind the fox, I should say. Doing that immediately makes things pop. It gives them form. And now I want to rinse my brush really well and then dry it off so that I can pick up some more of that orange. And I want it to be nice and strong for the second layer that's going in the fox. So I want it to be strong. I want to show the color. And you can tell I'm not filling in everything. I still want to maintain the highlights. I'm just kind of trying to emphasize the texture of the fur a little bit, but it's because of the distance, you can't really do too much of it. You just want to add a little bit of some brush strokes in there. And that will dry lighter, so I may have to add a third layer. And next I'm going to grab a little bit of the red and kind of mix it in with the brown, because I don't want it to be too strong of a red, but I want it to be recognizable, and that's gonna be for the mushrooms. So I'm just kind of lay that in different parts where there's mushrooms, like that. That way you kind of have an anchor point. So there's the main orange, it really pops out where the fox is. And you have these two on the side, so it makes it more pleasant, more balanced for the eye. Now I'm hesitant whether or not I want to add some details in the moon itself. Like I may grab a little bit of this brown, mix it in with the yellow, and make kind of like just a slightly darker, just kind of filling in some of those spots on the moon, like that. And I think that's, yeah, I think that's about it. I'm not gonna add a lot more to the moon just because you're ruining the risk of really kind of like messing it up. Add this patch over here is a little white. I'll fix that, maybe a little bit back here. And rinse my brush. I'm gonna step back for a moment. Yeah, you know, I really like the information that's in here. I really like how it looks. It doesn't look overworked, and the balance of colors is nice. So I think I'm gonna stop right there. I think that looks pretty good. I thought about adding more details back here, but it will distract and make the background or the middle ground and the foreground a little more confusing. So I think that's good as it is for now. Yeah, I think that's actually good. Okay, yeah, so that was it for the 10th and final page of the forest scenery watercoloring book. Sometimes while I'm painting, if I step back, it really helps me decide whether or not I'm done with a piece, even if I wasn't expecting it, kind of like this one. But yeah, if you have questions, shoot me a message. I respond pretty quickly. I'll have everything in the description, and I will see you next time.